Hello and welcome to our first video on drawing. This is video D1. This is the beginning of a series of workshops we're going to be doing here in first year to work on some of your analog skills. We're going to start with what we're calling the graphite workshop. It's really just a freehand drawing workshop that will enable you to start drawing by hand and using the pencil to kind of create some nice textures, some nice values, and some nice line work on the page and help you find other ways to render your projects. First, though, a little introduction. We want to teach you how to draw by freehand because it's an important skill to have as an engineer or an architect. It's how we communicate with each other, with our peers, with our consultants, with cities, with angry neighbors, anybody that we're trying to communicate with about our project and our design ideas. And drawing is a great way to do that. It complements what you already know about digital drawing through Rhino or other various programs you're going to be using throughout your career here. But it's a nice, quick way to also communicate. And it's a way to be able to not just communicate with each other, but also to yourself, like taking ideas that you have in your brain and putting them right onto the page. So we're not really drawing for art's sake necessarily, although some of the drawings will end up looking artistic. But what we're trying to do is teach ourselves to see, trying to get our mind to see and our eyes to think. And so it's just a way of seeing. You'll find that a lot of your favorite designers, both current and from the past, were excellent at drawing and communicating via their drawings. Many of you may have seen that awesome exhibit that Jen Shields curated over in the University Art Gallery on Julia Morgan. Some beautiful hand drawings in there, some amazing watercolors that she did. That's how she communicated. And she was, doing that for many, many years. And that's not something that she was just born with. That skill was something that she learned by working at the École des Beaux-Arts and doing many, many projects. But she's not the only one. And if you look at the early sketches of Tom Main from Morphosis or his partner who eventually formed Roto, Michael Rotundi, they were both amazing at drawing. Frank Gehry did those awesome, iconic sort of sketches that became projects eventually. Peter Zumthor works with charcoal and watercolor a lot. Stephen Hall to this day is doing a lot of watercolor to help conceptualize a project. But even people from the past, like Frank Lloyd Wright and Le Corbusier, Mies van der Rohe, they all could really draw well. Lou Kahn was especially adept at communicating via his freehand. Carlo Scarpa was amazing from Italy. He could draw with both hands simultaneously. He could draw them in the same scale. He could be drawing a section over here and a plan over here at the same time. But that's, we're not going to try and get you to that level, but we just want you to be able to start using your brain and your arm and your hand and your pencil and your paper to kind of communicate ideas rather quickly. First thing we're going to talk about is the left side of the brain versus the right side of the brain. So Betty Edwards did this really amazing book called Drawing from the Right Side of Your Brain. And she's recognizing that when you are drawing, you're often tapped into that right side of the brain, which is a little bit different than your left side. The left side is the side of the brain you're using when you're working in that math class or structures class. The right brain is a little bit more nonverbal. So it's an awareness of things, but with a minimal connection via words, whereas left brain is more verbal. It's more analytical, figuring things out step by step, part by part, whereas right brain is more synthetic, putting things together to form the wholes. It's more concrete, relating to things as they are at the present moment, whereas left brain can be more symbolic, using a symbol to stand for something. It's more abstract, taking out a small bit of information and using that to represent the whole, whereas right brain is more analogic, seeing likenesses between things and understanding metaphorical relationships. It's non-temporal. It doesn't have a linear sense of time, whereas left brain is way more temporal, keeping track of time, sequencing things, first things first, second things second. It's more rational. The right side of the brain is more spatial, seeing where things are in relation to other things. It's more intuitive. It's more holistic, seeing whole things all at once, perceiving the many facets of a problem or situation simultaneously. whereas the left brain is a little bit more linear in the thinking in terms of linking ideas, one following the other. It's more logical. It's more digital and rational. So we have two exercises from that book that will help you tap into the right side of your brain. The first one is a blind contour drawing. So I want you to get out a blank piece of paper, and you want to use a pencil, a good pencil. Like this is a lead holder from Caran d'Ache, but you can change out the lead. So it could be, you can have like a B or a 2B or a 6B or something soft. You can also just use the pencils that came in your kit, which are also B, 2B, 6B. Don't use something too hard like an H or a 2H. You can also do this exercise in a pen. I'm going to use a pen for this one just because it's easier to do, I think, blind contour with a pen. But get out a blank piece of paper, get an implement, a pen or a soft pencil, and hold up your hand, get into a position where you feel comfortable, and start drawing what you see. Study it for a little bit, and then look at the object, look at your hand, and start drawing those lines. Don't look at the cat, just look at your hand, and don't let the cat ruin your drawing. But yeah, just draw the digits, draw the wrinkles, draw the little fingernails. See the relationships between the lines on your hand, trying to just keep a continuous line going without looking at the page too much. Every once in a while, I'll make sure I'm like still on the page. You might need to pick it up again to start on a new finger, but spend most of your time looking at the hand and less time at the page. Draw every last fold, capture every last little space in between things, and finish that up. And when you're done, you should have something that's pretty loose. It's not supposed to be too artistic. It's just supposed to start to feel like very loose, good line weight, good confident line work, blind contour. You can do this multiple times because that was so quick, right? You can draw your hand several times. You can draw your roommate's face. You can draw your own face by taking a photo and looking at your phone. But do at least one blind contour, and preferably many, just to kind of loosen up. Once you've done that, I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to have your professor put up an image from Egon Schiele. I also included in the emails to my class. And it's just a drawing of a woman. I don't want you to focus on what it is that you're drawing. I just want you to look at the lines, draw them as you see them up on the screen, on your page. This one is less of a blind contour because it's way more complicated than just looking at your hand. But you can do a lot of it via blind contour, but you're probably going to have to come back and look at it repeatedly. But the idea is to really just tap into the right side of the brain, kind of meditative approach, and just really focus on seeing and drawing. I'm going to pause this right now, but I also want to remind you, if you haven't seen the videos P1 through P6 on perspective from last week, you should probably check those out this week too. It was meant for you to see them before the field trip, but they complement what we're doing here in this workshop as well. So I'm going to pause this right now.